All right, hi everyone, Professor Francis here. I am going to go over what we are doing for week 3 in Lit 2000. So I'm here in our Blackboard shell, and of course, at the start of each week, you should click on the calendar of activities first before doing anything. Okay, so we are in week 3. Of course, in week 2, we are wrapping up your literature reflection number 2. I'll be grading those today and tomorrow. Today's Sunday. It is, I want to make sure I'm in the June 1st. I wanted to say May, but we are already in June. So June 1st, I'll be grading these, and you're working on wrapping up, or you already have submitted, a lot of you have, the integrating quotes activity and the works cited page. So I'm going to open this one up really quickly. And this top part, again, this is just to give you examples of how to use these 5 methods. And we have a quick reminders list here. And then the Now You Try section, this is what you're working on. And you are already given what you'll be responding to. So use the sprinkling or blending method for this review of everyday use. Here is the review of everyday use. And of course, here's what you'll use for number 2. This website for number 3. This website for number 4. And then for number 5, you pick from any of the ones up at the top for how to use the split method. And of course, when you turn this in to me, I just need your answers, not the entire document. Okay, so for this information here on 1 through 5. And the construct a works cited page, this one I think, pretty self-explanatory. Pretty much all of you are right on track with this one. You have the sample sources here, and using the MLA format, you turn this into a works cited page. So you're all pretty much on track with this one. I just wanted to quickly touch on those 2 as we are wrapping them up, and of course the skills that you practiced with that module 4, set you up for things that I'm going to be looking for in your short story or short stories paper that you submit next week. Well, I guess, yeah, next Sunday at this point. All right, so moving on into where we are for week 3. Okay, so this week your annotated bibliography is due by Wednesday or earlier. If you want to get in earlier, that's great. And then your paper is due by Sunday. Now, of course, you must submit your annotated bibliography first. Look at it and make sure that the sources you've used are correct for your paper. So make sure, even if you need to check in with me, that's fine. But I'm going to be checking vigilantly for these annotated bibliographies. Really, for me, I'm going to be checking just about daily this week. And I'm going to look at to make sure you have chosen appropriate and correct sources for this paper. So I've already opened, the directions are here. I've already opened them, so let's look at that. Okay, you know what? Before I actually go over the annotated bibliography directions, I actually want to back up and open your short story paper directions. Of course, you have all the guts here on what, how you should format, the information here, how long the paper is, and so forth. So on this works cited page, you need 2 outside sources that are beyond the story or stories you're using. Okay, so one source should be from the FSCJ library database, or it can be a legitimate source from Google Scholar. But really, this students kind of get in trouble here. They might pick something that doesn't work. So the FSCJ library database, that will be a 100% surefire guarantee you're going to choose something that is approved. And then your other source needs to be a website. Okay? So look at this. 1 to 2 quotes from a scholarly article. You'll get that from the library database, or if you're lucky, Google Scholar if you find something you like, but again, I recommend the database. And then 1 to 2 quotes from a reliable website. So don't forget that, an article and a website. Let me quickly show you how to search for websites that don't stink on Google. Okay, so we're already here. We're at Google. I'm going to type in Alice. Let's pretend I chose Alice Walker Everyday Use for my paper. Because remember, you can just talk about one story for your paper, or you can talk about a theme that's in 2. But I recommend 1 since it's such a short paper. But hey, if you want to talk about a theme that's in 2, that's great. But I wouldn't do more than that because again, it's a short paper. All right, so Alice Walker Everyday Use. and I get all kinds of results. Spark Notes is the first one. For example, if a student uses Spark Notes in their paper, that's not good. You're going to get marked a lot of points off for that, and it will not count as a legitimate source. So, okay, maybe you're thinking, okay, well, I can't use Wikipedia or something like Spark Notes. What in the world can I use if I need to use a website? Here's how you do this. Now, I'm in Google Chrome, so if you're in Firefox or Internet Explorer or Safari, this gear option here on the right might be in a different place over here, but as long as just find the gear, whatever it looks like in your browser. So, okay, click on Advanced Search. And once you are in Advanced Search, you can mess around with stuff here if you wanted to. But I'm going to change the site or domain to .edu. .edu is short for, can you guess? Education. All right, so .edu and then Advanced Search. So you can see it went from 200 and something thousand to about 14,000, which of course is a ton. But look, all of the stuff that shows up now is from educational institutions, colleges or universities. These would be great resources, and again, use your judgment when you look at them. But for pretty much, you can feel very confident that what you pull up will be a website that is approved for your paper. And again, if you're concerned, just say, hey, is this source okay? I don't mind if you send me a quick email like that, but for the most part, you're going to be okay. All right, so that's my quick tutorial of how to use Google the smart way. And I guess since I'm here, let's see, am I still logged in? I'll quickly just touch on, it's gonna make me sign in again. Here, you can't see my password. Of course, you will get to the library via your Connections account, right? The lower left-hand corner, and you click on the Library Learning Commons. Okay, just checking something really quick. All right, so in the lower left-hand corner, yours will say Library Learning Commons link. For me, it's here. You and I just get there a little different. All right, so here it is. If you see your name, that means you are successfully logged in. It shouldn't say guest. It should say your name. And then here is where you would type, what everyday use, Alice Walker, you could go from there. If you want to get fancy, you could, well, from here actually, look where it says limit to. You can limit it to just articles, or if you wanted an ebook, but here's how you can make it go straight to articles. Now, heads up for some of you, if you are choosing for your paper, you've chosen the short videos, you're not going to find a source that is about your video. They're too new, right? And they're too obscure. You're not going to find something about Fallen or about Perfecto. So you're going to have to type something like themes in short stories and search more like general topics like that. Or let's say you found science fiction themes. You could do that if you chose, well, yeah, Descendants could work. But you're going to have to think of more generic terms to use here if you've chosen one of the short stories. Like, you know what? Let's see if I'm going to make a liar out of myself, but I'm going to type in Perfecto, and let's see if something comes up. Okay, yeah, so nothing is going to come up. At least I don't think so. Now there's 2,906 articles here. I look on for a little bit, but I seriously doubt it. So again, choosing the videos is perfectly fine, but you're going to have to use general search terms to find something here that will work for those, like themes in short stories, short story animation, characterization, something like that. So just keep that in mind. All right. So let's talk about your annotated bibliography. So this just here gives you a background of what an annotated bibliography is. If any of you took E&C 1101 online, then some of this may look very familiar to you, which means that's good. You have a background on this. So for this one, you only need to have 2. Now you can have more if you're going to use more sources for your paper, but heads up, the sources you have in this annotated bibliography, they must They must be the same sources you will use in your paper. So don't just grab two random sources and then think, okay, for my paper I'm going to do something different. They have to be the same, okay? So take your time, make sure you do this right, and you choose the sources that you will use in your paper. Now, if you want to put more sources on your annotated bibliography, and then once you use your paper, you don't use all of them, that is okay. But just make sure you've covered your bases by what you put on the annotated bibliography will be a source or sources that you use in your paper. Okay, so you only need to have at least two on this annotated bibliography. Include 4-sentence annotation under the source. The annotation, again, that is talking about, well, we can back up here. It's a summary and or an evaluation, okay? So to assess it, how is it useful? How does it compare to other sources that are in your bibliography? Is the information reliable? Do you think it's biased or objective? What is the purpose of this source? So if you don't know what to say, use some of these guidelines here, summarizing or assessing that may help you. You don't need to answer every single question here, okay? But let this be something that helps guide you in creating a scholarly annotation, right? An annotation that just says, this source is good, I will use it in my paper because it has stuff I can use. I mean, what? Do not say something that is empty and meaningless and vague, and it's an annotation that could be applied to any source. Your annotation should be very specific, telling me how will you use this source in your paper? What will it offer? Okay? And it can even be a source that you disagree with. And those are fantastic ways to use sources too. All right, so hopefully that's pretty self-explanatory. Go back here and read the directions as well. I just wanted to give you that overview. And I've included, as you can see in the calendar, a sample. So here's a sample of what an annotated bibliography looks like. Here's the information up top. Your title, it says an annotated bibliography. It should look exactly like this, okay? Yeah, this is Arial 11, but I mean, if you have Times New Roman 12.1, yes, that's great. I have some notes over here as well, but notice the indentions. The source should be indented in this format, right? This is flush left against the margin, and then this is indented here. If you need to know how to do this, there's many ways that you could do this, but a quick way that I do, I put my cursor in front of the line, and then I hit return and then tab, like return tab, and that will bump them over. Notice the annotation is indented as well, and it's in line with this, okay? So you have a few examples here to get an idea of what an annotated bibliography looks like. Now this is a sample from a previous student, so there might be some minor errors, but for the most part, it's a really good example. Okay, so that's what it should look like, and you only need 2. Yes, you can have more. And again, I get this question a lot, even though I have it listed in the directions. You will not need to list your short story or stories on the annotated bibliography. Let's see if I won't get one question on that. All right, so just please remember that. I only need to see the outside sources, your secondary sources. The story or stories you're using, those are your primary sources. They'll be on your Works Cited page. Everything will be on your Works Cited page. But on your annotated bibliography, I just need your 2 outside sources. Okay? All right, so that's due by Wednesday in module. Let's go to it. Right here, module 5. Okay? Now, once you've done that, you're drafting your short stories paper. And your short stories paper, just a quick reminder, the link for it is back here in module 3. So you'll go back to module 3, click on this link right here, and then click View Complete. And once you've clicked on View Complete, put in your first name, last name, give it a submission title, upload your paper. You can upload through Google Drive or upload your Microsoft Word document. Remember, do not upload a Pages document. Like, yes, I'm on a Mac, but Blackboard's internal grading system, it doesn't work with Pages. So you have to use either Google Drive or Microsoft Word Don't use, even like the Microsoft Open software. That does not work. It's not compatible either. So it's got to be a .doc or .docx extension or a Google Drive. Okay? All right, let me get back out of here and go back to the course calendar. So that's what you're doing this week. Really take your time, focus on making this a good paper. You have your annotated bibliography due this week and the short stories paper due at the end of this week. In week 4, we will switch gears and move into our poetry section of the course. And you can look ahead here if you want to for what you're doing in week 4. Okay? All right, hopefully that was helpful. A quick overview, and I look forward to seeing what you're all going to turn in. Take care, everyone.